Okay, I'm going to start it off. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the 01206 Book Club. We've had a successful week, lots of interactions online, on the Instagram and on YouTube. What we're hoping to do tonight is have a look at Channon King's part. We're going to talk through that. So we're joined again with some familiar faces. I'm just going to introduce you to some of these guys here, as we probably haven't formally introduced you to all of the cast of the 01206 Book Club. We've got Varen Tull here, who was episode 1's subject. Hello, Varen. Good evening.
Good evening. Joined
by our meathead enthusiast, Adam Mondon. Hello, Adam. How are you?
Fantastic.
Excellent. Fellow Sudbury veteran, Sandy. How are you doing?
Good, thanks. Hello.
That's the most he said in 3 episodes. Excellent. We're joined again by the legend that is Richard Utteridge. How are you doing, Rich?
We're all good.
How are the ladders this morning?
The ladders have been hot. Been topping up the tan just on the back of my legs.
Nice. Nicely done.
Shorts on. And avoiding some nettles today.
Oh, okay. Good.
Wow.
Still doing that, are you? Still doing that?
Still doing it, yep.
Still got the yellow van?
No, I progressed from the yellow van. We progressed to a grey one, and then we progressed to a Ford Escort estate. Now we're on the Focus estate, so, you know.
Wow. So that's Artie's car history. Moving on. We're joined by the London serial killer that is Sam Juna. How are you, Sam?
Well, thanks.
Good. Bristol stalwart and Ipswich legend, Carl Vance is with us with his own light show. He's a wave, Carl.
You're right.
DJ
Right, we're good. And we're joined by the beard that is now Russell Cowling. How are you doing, Russ?
The beard.
Hi, you're right.
The beard. Took him a while, he's got there. Right, okay, so we're going to jump straight in and introduce you to our guest this evening, which is Mr. Channon King. Channon, how are you doing?
Yep, good, thanks.
Is this all very strange for you, having lots of people you do know, but just all asking you questions and talking
Yeah,
about
it's very odd. Very odd.
This is your life.
This is your life. So let's start at the beginning, Channon, just to give people a bit of context. Obviously, what we like to do in these podcasts is delve a little bit more into the history of things before we just look at skateboarding and talk about that. Now, you originate and still live in Sudbury. Were you born in Sudbury or in that area?
Yeah.
And you've lived there pretty much your whole life, bar some trips to London and stuff like that?
Yeah, sort of grew up in Acton really from the age of about 10. You know, I was in Sudbury originally, then Acton from the age of about 10, and moved to London a couple of times and kept coming back, and yeah, that's about it. And then back again, you know. So it's actually, you appreciate when you get older how nice it actually is, especially if you live in London for a while.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, car hasn't been broken into today. You know, there's not a crackhead bursting through my window trying to rob me. So
you appreciate the country life. You appreciate the quiet country life.
Yeah. I mean, they're true stories as well. Literally had a crackhead burst in through our window. So so it's nice. It's nice.
What year, Channon, did you start skating?
I can't give you a year. I can't work it out, but I must have been about 9, I suppose.
9.
Like
wow. That. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I reckon 9 or 10. I reckon because about 9 or 10. And I don't know. Maybe it was like everyone says that, but maybe it was sort of around the Back to the Future time because of that brought on a lot of people in that era.
Yeah,
definitely.
I reckon so. What year was first proper set up then? Because if 9's usually the kind of Fisher Price board, learning to scoot down the hill kind of situation. When's the first?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't actually know it. You know, I didn't even really sort of realise tricks existed for like a good few years. Just rolled around, really. Didn't even know you could ollie and stuff like that. So I went through. I think I had a pacer, like a thin pacer board, and then I never done the banana board, but I had this wooden pacer, and then I moved on to like a wider plastic wheeled thing called the Bear.
The Bear.
Onto a vet, then onto this Veriflex, like a space junk. It was called. Yeah, it had a good graphic. A space junk. It had a graphic of this bloke doing a rocket air into space, and it was all around him was like space junk. And you just see the Earth disappearing below him, and So then that was that, and said the Veriflex, and then after that I got a Dogtown Dog Ben Shiroda with the Big Ben. It was like a cross with Dogtown like that.
Sick.
So I got that, and I shared the photo of me with Sandy the other day, and I've got like indoor football boots on, like indoor football trainers, and Sandy was like, "Yeah, I had them. They're like these Lotto things, just these shiny black Lotto trainers." So I sort of like had a pro board, but I think the wheels I had were really still pretty bad. Yeah. And I think I had some indies, but I had really bad wheels, and I had Lotto indoor football boots, because you couldn't get skate trainers then, No,
I was going to say, most people can remember their first board, but it's rare that we remember our first skate shoes.
Just didn't really have them. There was like Airwalk. There was Airwalk as a brand. Can't think of a lot else.
Converse basketball boots seem to be in a hot rotation at that
Converse
time.
people just sort of took on as skate trainers. Don't know, was it Pacer Hogs? They were around, Pacer Hogs. They were always cheap, and that was it. That was it. And you weren't going to get them because, that was expensive, wasn't it? So I never even had skate trainers for, I don't know when my first pair was, probably, really late on.
Yeah, definitely. So you grew up in a little kind of village. And growing up in that kind of Sudbury scene, was there much to kind of skate there? Because just for a bit of context, Sandy and I both grew up in the Sudbury area, so we kind of know that area, and we skated with Channon quite a bit, so we kind of appreciate how little there was. But do you recall?
Well, I'm still appreciating that, Dave. I went out last night and just skated the hideous industrial estate, so
which is still there.
Yeah, still skating the same stuff. So, but I'm sensible enough to have some soft wheels now. So.
Is Bosnia still there?
No, it's just
probably in Lidl's or something.
No, it's like
they're all
a
at
bus. It's just
a bus station. They
sort of park the buses there when they're not using them, and they just smash the good surface up and put this horrible concrete down. And it's really sad, actually. Yeah, that was amazing. That place, wasn't it?
Yeah. But earlier to that, obviously, you had the skate park at Bellevue, but that was a bit later. Where was the kind of local spot before that?
You had the ramp, and and that was it really. You skated the ramp, and then you go up the industrial estate and like skate, I think, Reason homes and things like that, like the little stairs and stuff like that. And I was really in acting for the first quite a few years, and that was just nothing really to skate. And then in Sudbury it was the ramp, and it was the industrial estate, if you could be bothered to make the trek up there, and then at night time you skated what was Solar Car Park, which was just a couple of curbs, and that was it.
Some good times at Solar and Summerfield.
You had the sort of the little triangle there. You had the Solar curb, and then you could go across to Summerfields for exactly the same curb, but without an end. And then later the train station got resurfaced or something, and so then there was 3 of the same curbs. You could go to that one. And
we had choices.
Like literally used to. I think it was to do with opening times. I think you could only skate the train station. Obviously, after the trains had pretty much stopped and all the taxis had gone and all the cars had gone. And then so it's it's just different times and different opening hours and things like that. So you'd sort of move around the 3 curbs, and it was pretty not a lot to skate.
Did you always kind of obsess about it, like skate it a lot of the time? Because some people, even in that early stage, are still taking it or leaving it. Skating every single day?
No, it's just I don't know. Well, I don't know, because obviously I had school, and in the winter it was obviously dark, and I was in acting, so obviously didn't then. But I think every dry day, and then as I got, the older I got, the more like obsessed I got, and I'd just go and skate, like even if it was on my own, I'd just go and skate undercover in a little dry patch and do flat ground, and just got I got worse and worse with it, just got more and more obsessed. But
do you think that's I mean, this is to all of you as well, I think that's pretty much the same. I think all of us growing up in little villages, you get used to kind of those solo sessions to a certain degree. There are times when you just go out, and
I mean, that during the sort of 90s, everyone sort of gave up to go raving and stuff, I suppose. And I was at one point, and like we were saying this the other, when I was speaking to you yesterday, that I'm not sure where Sandy was, or if obviously he can
raving?
answer that for
Who's
himself.
raving?
I think
Always
he was.
raving.
Yeah, his glow sticks. And
Always raving.
but no, I mean,
He's
I
raving now.
don't know what was going on with him at that point. If he just skated ramp, but I remember just skating street by myself a lot because I just wanted to keep going, but everyone had given up. And then I think I was maybe going places on the weekend. But yeah, nights. I just remember lots of nights skating by myself. And the thing is, I absolutely loved it, and I'm doing that again now because of the lockdown. I've just been going to the industrial estate, setting my phone up and just like skating by myself, and I actually really love it. It's really weird, but I do some of the best skating by myself.
I don't think it's weird. I just think it's just part.
I just don't
of
deal
how
well
you
with
adapt as you get older.
I just don't deal well with any pressure, like no pressure. Like if I have any pressure,
Zero
that's
pressure.
just the worst for me. But if it's just me by myself, there's no pressure, and that's when I can do stuff. It's weird, like something just kicks in and I just relax and enjoy myself. But as soon as there's one other person, I can sort of skate with one other person if I know them really well.
Sandy. It can tolerate you. It's all right.
Yeah,
There's something fun. There's something fun about in this, like the way it is now, where we can just like film something on our phone and then share it with our friends instantly.
Yeah,
and edit it on it. Like we were talking the other day, Shannon, weren't we, about just editing on like having iMovie on your phone.
Yeah, it's incredible. You know,
It's
like considering what you used to have to go through to try and put something together with two videos.
Exactly, the trauma.
Yeah, it was just this absolute mission, and now we're just, you know, we're just so unbelievably lucky that you can film stuff on your phone. It looks better than those cameras could, you know, like as far as being able to see it.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, you could argue, I prefer the graininess and whatever. Yeah. But at the end of the day, as far as being able to see your trick, it is like a million times better than the cameras that you were dealing with back then. Like it's a clear image. You've got loads and loads of memory, so you're not worrying about your tape running out. Loads of battery, you know, and then you've got this editing, you know, just on my iPhone, the iMovie. It's just incredible that you can just sit there and you can just cobble a video. You just keep going back to your photos, and I'm sort of cobbling all my clips from the industrial estate together now to just sort of build up a section. And it's just so unbelievably
so accessible, isn't it?
Compared to two video recorders sitting there poised. I had a video recorder with like the massive levers, and you pretty much had to get an elbow on it to try and get the lever down and press record at the right time. It's like a two-man job to actually sort of get the levers on it down.
Let's go back to then. We've kind of gone through those early stages of skating, getting into it. Before we jump too far forward, when was the first time do you remember filming tricks then? Because I talked to Carl and Ati about this last week, and we were talking about the Ipswich scene, and when were video cameras becoming prevalent? When do you remember that happening?
I mean, my mate Jeff, his dad had a video camera, and it was like, size of a microwave oven like this, and you just had to lug that around, like huge thing, like. And he borrowed that from his dad. Yeah. And I think that might have been the first time. There was two people. Yeah, there was two people that had. There's this other sort of rich kid.
Was that in Sudbury?
Yeah, in Sudbury. There was this rich kid, Phil, that started skating for a while.
Yeah, I think I know.
And we just said, why don't you ask your parents for a camera? So he just went home and said, can I have a camera? And his dad said, yeah, there you go. Bought him a camera.
Could I have one? Yeah.
So, yeah, but we didn't film a lot on that. But...
You didn't film a lot on that camera.
I'm just waiting for Sandy to. I think he's saying goodnight or something. Yeah. So we filmed some bits on Jeff's camera. So that was the first stuff we ever filmed. I don't really know why we stopped using that. Jeff wasn't really about much. He was a bit of a part-time skater.
When did you start like traveling? Like you said, traveling at weekends. When did you start hitting that kind of Ipswich scene with Rich and Carl? When did that start happening?
So Frank come down to Sudbury, come down to the park.
Yeah.
That might have been when he. Yeah, it might have been. No, that wouldn't. That's too late. Sorry, I was just thinking about that mute that he did. No, that would be later on. I reckon we revisited. No, he come down and we just took him. You know, through to all the terrible spots in Sudbury, like around the industrial estate, and he, you know, I never met him before. He's just this kid, and he was like really small. Like he's older than me, but he was really small and had a really squeaky voice. So he just seemed like a little kid. And we took him to like this primary school, Tudor Road. And there's like, you'd never look at it. There's like a roof drop that's probably about, it's probably like, I don't know, eye level, forehead level, something like that. This roof, no run up at all, literally just like less than a push, you know. And he climbed up on there and did a frontside 360 off it, you know. It's just like this little crazy
Jesus
little kid.
Christ! Intro.
Welcome to Frank.
Clothes, you know. It's just a bundle of clothes, and just like did this frontside 360 off there. really
He was a
stood out.
bundle of clothes early on, wasn't he? He just
Yeah, he
looked like
was.
everything was too big for him. It was just
That's
like,
why he
He was
took his
getting
top off all the
counterfeit
time.
stuff.
you are
And
rich.
it was,
There was a company called Counterfeit, and he was getting sort of
yeah, that's right, yeah.
stuff from there. Yeah, and they
Yeah,
had
I bought some. That's also how I ended up
Awful
going to
boards.
Ipswich, because this is how I sort of ended up going to Ipswich, because I wanted to buy a board. He's like, I can get you a cheap board and some wheels. So I went up and bought a board and wheels off him, and the wheels were like glass, literally. I just went out and they just flat spotted that night. Like me, I stayed at Frank's and we went out skating that night, and straight away we went and ollied over this gap skated this gap, and I just landed a little bit sort of 90 and just completely flat spotted them. And I think Frank felt really bad and contacted the bloke the next day. But yeah, terrible stuff. terrible beer
Is there
that
a
was.
disclaimer on wheels about flat spotting? I know that people say they don't flat spot, but surely if you just bought them and they instantly flat spot, have you got
Well,
no...
yeah.
It's,
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
done.
most
accepted,
shops,
isn't it?
Most reasonable shops, like if you do something on the first day, like if it's a manufacturing thing, like it splits. Like I've had boards that I've got and they've literally just just the whole ply just pretty much split off. So then it's just obvious. But if you snapped it, they can't really tell.
No, it's
but
crazy. Isn't
flat spots, I mean, last set of wheels I got, and it's the same as like Spitfires that I always get. And first day I flat spotted them, but it's because of the tricks I was doing. But this was like, no, they were like, rock hard, and they were just terrible. Like I don't even know where this guy got these. You've just made him in his garden shed or something. I don't know where who this guy was, or how he met Frank, or what he was making these things out of. I just don't know.
I don't think we'll ever know.
No,
no secrets.
So you started skating Ipswich, that Ipswich scene, and started skating Fisons and some of those spots and stuff like that. When did you meet Carl and Rich, as an example? Remember that? Carl, do you remember that?
Yeah, I mean, at first, I suppose I just skated with Frank a lot. But yeah, I suppose Greyfriars was the terrible sort of, you couldn't, I think there was days you couldn't skate Fisons, isn't it? Yeah. And we'd skate that ridiculous spot Greyfriars. And I think that's where I first remember meeting everyone, was in Greyfriars. And yeah, just under there on that terrible bank that's not a bank. It's just,
there's a curb there as well, isn't there? Standard curb.
Yeah. I've got a photo of Carl doing a front blunt on that somewhere upstairs in the archives.
Was that undercover? Yeah. I can't remember if it was sort of that.
Well, it was one of those undercovers where the rain just came in the sides. So so you were skating like a slither, and then the rest was soaking. And
good times.
It was awful.
30 people under there.
Yeah, it was horrendous. It had the barrier. The barrier that lets cars in and out, and you just had to smack it with your board, because there was that like kicker over the path, and you had to just smack the barrier, and then the arm would go up, so you could skate there over the kicker. Yeah. And Rod, didn't Rodriguez 360 flip it, and then someone had to stand there and time it, hit their board on the barrier, go up, and then Rod
clothesline
and try and do it. Yeah, so probably Greyfriars,
Who's running? Bring that back. Who's running? That's not what I'm doing, to be honest.
Sandy's in the middle of it. Okay. Mute you, Sandy.
This isn't very professional, Sandy.
Yeah, we do this in one cup.
Should have just got the paper plate with your face on in.
Our kids in the shed.
Where's the carrot? Bring the carrot back.
Yeah. Carrot was nice and quiet.
Channon, did you skate the church as well, round about that?
What's that?
Did you skate the churchyard around about that time?
Yeah, I would have thought so. I mean, I can't remember the first things that Frank took me to, but I can't remember the first things Frank took me to. I mean, first time I went up, we probably just skated together, and then I probably met everyone else on a weekend, Yeah. So
when did and this is probably going to cast you on when did you first hook up with Mondon? Then when was that first meeting?
Well, he started coming down around the same time as me. We all sort of rolled up together, I think, pretty much. We didn't know each other, but yeah, it was becoming.
We came down. This is what I can't remember. Did we come? We came down separately.
No, I didn't know
Ipswich.
I don't think I knew you or James before then.
No.
And then you and James rolled up, and James had his trousers so low that he was walking like a penguin. So he got called Penguin after that. Like most people know him as Penguin.
Is that how that came around?
It's because Frank called him Penguin, because he looked like a penguin because he come waddling up, like his trousers. He used to hit.
I've never known that. Oh, that's amazing.
So young.
So I met Munden
crazy,
and
those
Penguin,
trousers.
Hayes. Yeah,
The Penguin.
we were all
I
about the
forgot.
same. Well, me and obviously Adam was similar sort of age and in the same sort of location, like Houston, and I skated Colchester quite a bit anyway. So I think we kind of branched off and started skating together.
So
a lot
did you
at
go
the Super
to
Bowl.
all those areas like Colchester? So because there's quite a lot of the times when you'd hook up with like Penguin and go around that area. Then Ipswich, you know what I mean? You weren't in one place the whole time. You're always moving around and stuff like that.
That's where I met you boys, Colchester, didn't I? Like,
I think we used to go out maybe at night time quite a bit in Colchester and skate. Obviously, Loading Bay and Willie G's and Super Bowl and all that, the old Super Bowl curb. But then every now and again, Munden would come down and James would come down. We'd skate Penny Market car park. And, it's good. Go get the old chocolate sundaes and all that, wasn't it? Opposite. Those little, do you remember them little chocolate sundae things we used to get, little pudding? It's good.
Yeah, ate a lot of them. Hell of a lot.
So,
it's mad though, isn't it? Like that we met in Ipswich, but then we're so close together, like down the road, like 7 miles down the road.
I'm pretty sure we didn't meet before Ipswich. I'm pretty sure that
that's how I found it was strange because Munden lived in Houston.
Yeah.
And you lived in Sudbury, and I thought you would have hooked up first and be friends first, and then go to Ipswich together. But it was actually the other way around, wasn't it?
No, definitely. I don't remember ever sort of skating with either of you because I think it took a while as well. Like I don't think we were just like, I don't know. I think it took a little while to sort of before we were skating together. Anyway, like in Colchester and stuff like that.
I spent a lot of time in Ipswich, definitely.
I think I remember Munden in Ipswich before Shaq.
He was. Yeah, a little bit before. Yeah.
I think Munden was 92, 93, and then you were not that long after. But yeah.
So then, coming back to the original question of videoing, that's when that already started, like kind of.
Frank had
seen filming with those guys and stuff like that, and trying to get footage, if you want to call it that, actually start filming stuff.
Yeah, Frank had a camera, that he sort of had wrapped up in, I think, in a load of jumpers in his rucksack. He had this camera, and he was really into filming all the time. So that was just it was incredible for me having someone that could film and had a much better camera. Like it was way better than Jeff's huge beast of a camera. So. And Frank could actually film properly as well. He knew what he was doing. He had a fisheye and all that. I think Jeff's camera had no fisheye. We just, filmed it long. So,
was that the first footage you had in Kaboom then?
No, I don't know. Oh, maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
Sort of section-wise.
Yeah, maybe.
You had a camera though. I remember you having a camera around that time as well.
I had a camera much later on because I think me, Munden and James were sort of skating together over in Colchester a lot, and and then I bought one for like £100 off Pat, and I had that one. That's what all that pork.
Oh, you bought it off Pat, was it? You bought that camera?
Yeah.
Because they'd made a video a couple of years prior to that. Because I was talking to Tom Green about it. And I think Tom Green and Pat had made a video with Turner. They'd done a Colchester video around that time. So I didn't know, had you filmed with them as well then?
No. And Pat said he had this camera for sale, and he knew some pretty shady characters, and I just got him to swear. I was like, look, we get stopped by the police all the time. You swear this isn't stolen, And I got him to swear, and I didn't really believe him because he just knew so many shady people, and suddenly he could just get this camera for like £100. And I was like really sketched out about it. And then one day, so I was constantly like nervous about it. I thought this is definitely stolen. Yeah. And then we got stopped by the police, and they did the serial check on it. They did a check on it, and it came up fine. So either it wasn't stolen.
Pat was legit.
Just hadn't, or it hadn't been reported. But that thing was just pretty terrible. Like the focus, it kept going in and out of focus. You can see that on the footage of Pork Sword, and it's just really dark. you really get that sort of dungeon feeling with it.
Perfect.
The medieval dungeon.
Medieval dungeon footage.
Yeah.
I asked for that filter on most of my cameras that get now. Has it got dungeon mode?
Yeah, I think there is an app for that, medieval dungeon.
Well, there's definitely a business opportunity there for sure. So,
yeah.
So you kind of met Adam in Ipswich, but then that kind of forged a relationship that lasted a long time because you filmed together for quite a few years. Adam, how many years do you reckon you and Channon probably consistently?
I think we probably had enough by about when we went to SF. I reckon we probably had enough at that point. So
that was the end of the relationships.
Yeah, pretty much.
Divorce stages.
The divorce wasn't as bad as him and McGee's. Obviously, I mean that was more of a bitter breakup, and me and Adam can still talk to each other. But
a lot of years though.
A lot of years.
Some would say too many.
Yeah, many would, I think. Yeah, but
probably went a couple more than probably we should have.
You pushed it to its limits.
Between you and Frank, it's definitely I've filmed the most of, I'd say.
Yeah.
Good stint.
Yeah, we did put in a good stint. You're right. Probably a bit more productive filming with Frank now, to be honest.
I've got a lot of stuff. We've been through a lot of different camera stages as well.
Yeah,
as technology goes, it's quite good that we've had different stages. Of cameras, including the 8mm one from the Kung Fu guy in like Clacton or whatever.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Oh, and that footage was at the end. Was in the credits, wasn't it? Yeah, and he's like fiddling with his bits.
Yeah,
and he's got his dog in there as well.
Yeah, that's
crazy. Crazy. So
that thing was a beast as well, wasn't it? That camera was massive.
Yeah.
How did grow up happen then? How did grow up happen then, Adam? Because we talked about this the other week when we were talking about X-Rental, about how did grow up happen? Because there wasn't, I would say that Shannon's is the only part which seems to have had lots of time and consideration put into it. The rest of it didn't. Bits and bobs that kind of come together.
No, I don't know. I just think that Channon just got a lot of footage.
I just had lots of random. I had bits. So some of that is me and John borrowed a camera from Slam, but then someone needed it back, so we just got a really short loan. So then I filmed the bits in London are probably filmed on that Slam camera, and then there's bits that Frank filmed on his camera, and then Adam got a camera, and we did a load of stuff there. So it was all just random bits, and it didn't actually set out to film it. We set out to film, but we didn't know what we were filming. And then I think we met Dave Underwood, and he had loads of footage of his mates. Frank had a whole section of his own footage. So and that's the video. We're just like, oh, okay, well, you stick, Dave Underwood had a whole section of himself. So then I think really, we didn't really set out to make it. It was just already sat there, and
it was X-Rental where we started to form sections and want to make something. But that was just naturally came together, which was amazing, really. That we had
X-Rent Boy, you can see it's all on the same camera as well. Like we all had pretty much the same camera, whereas Grow Up is just like all sorts of different cameras, like just everything.
It is a hodgepodge, isn't it? Of different
it is.
Shit,
Whereas X-Rent Boy is all pretty much the same cameras, same fisheye, so it looks very consistent.
That really stoked me out when that came up the other week that Rent Boy was all filmed on 3 cameras, the same cameras.
Yeah, and same fisheye, same Jessop's fisheye.
Same Jessop's
fisheye. Amazing.
That setup was just rolled out across East Anglia, pretty much. Like someone would hear about
everyone
it.
Kept buying it. You'd always get asked, where'd you get that fisheye from? And then they'd be like,
well, there was no internet, was there? It was just Jessop's.
Jessop's must have thought, why are we getting a run of these like scrawny kids coming in and wanting this like shit semi-fisheye and the adapter? We need the adapter ring. We need the adapter ring.
Tape it on.
Tape it on. Bog roll.
Tape it on.
Just been sitting there on a shelf, dusty, this fisheye, and then just finally start shifting them. I know. Same we were saying about the Sudbury market. This guy, he probably turned up there for years, like with these Puma States, like he probably had them all lined up for years and years. They probably sat on his market stall, sitting there in the rain, just, wow, when are we going to shift these things? Bloody things, having to lug them in and out of the van every time. Then just all of a sudden, the 90s hit, and we're just going, he was selling them for $5 a pair. for Puma States and gazelles, Adidas gazelles, and he must have just been like, "What the hell is going on here?" You know,
he had
got some fish eyes in as well.
He would have done a good business.
2 for 1.
So one-stop skate shop.
Grow Up was 98, and you'd been in various Ipswich videos. Kaboom, you had stuff in. And
best forgotten. Stick that one down the memory hole.
No, they're the classics. They're the classics.
Load of crumb snatchers.
They're coming back.
Half-landed tricks.
We'll wait till you're not here and we'll play them back.
It's a disgrace, that section.
I was stoked watching them. It's a good stuff.
It's a disgrace, Adam. Absolute disgrace.
I'd had a few drinks, maybe.
Yeah, that's it. Got your beer goggles on.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's an opportune moment. Should we start having a look through Shannon's part in Grow Up then, which was 1998? We'll see if Channon you can get through a trick without criticising what you're doing.
Yeah, I can get through the first trick.
Maybe. The first trick is Super 8. I think that you'll be able to look at that nostalgically, but the rest of it, we'll see what happens, shall we?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna share my screen. There you go. So can you guys see that? You will see that, yeah?
I can't see that. Oh yeah, here we go.
There we go. So
you might have to swipe, Russ, if you're on your phone.
I've got it.
Right.
Cool. Stretch it.
So you won't be able to hear the sound. So
this that was my cine camera.
Yeah, was that your cine camera?
So that was the only camera I owned, was a cine camera.
Where'd you get that from?
I don't know actually. Where did I get it from? Oh, I don't know. Maybe I think I just had it. I might have even just had it in the loft. That might have just been the family one, you know.
So clear, that footage. Usually with Super 8 cameras, you get like kind of a bit of burning on the edges and everything. But I always like loved how clear all this was in this video.
That camera's only 10 years old there.
Yeah.
Good point. Yeah.
So this spot, Channon, where's this?
Yeah, that's a great spot.
So that is in historic Lavenham, believe it or not. And that is the only spot you'll get in Lavenham. And it's an amazing spot. It's the best bank. Like, honestly, felt like I was in Philadelphia skating that. It's smooth. It's a good transition. Really smooth bricks. But what you had to have was these women screaming at you from out their windows to go away. So like the whole time I'm doing that blunt, I've just got some land whale shouting at me out of her window.
Land whale, excellent. So we go out the blunt, and then we're into some extremeness here. There's a kickflip off a roof. Look at that.
Yeah. So
that's Ipswich, isn't it?
That was Castle Hill.
Yeah.
And basically, Frank obviously knew all these spots and everything, and so I'd just go with whatever he wanted to do that day, and he always had like a plan of what he wanted to do. You know, he always had it mapped out, and I always think, I try and skate whatever it is, whatever I'm taking to have a go at trying to skate it, and I'm not really that into jumping off roofs and stuff. But I don't like to just leave people to just skate alone. So Frank obviously wanted to skate it, so I skated it with him. And we did a couple of tricks off it. Like I can't remember what I did. I think Frank did something like, maybe Adam can remember, but I think Frank did something like a fakie ollie or switch backside 180, something like that.
Is it that
Super 8, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right, Super 8.
Yeah.
And so Frank did that right, and then there was these kids that I don't think they were with us. I think they'd like seen us in the school, and then they jumped the fence, and they were just sitting there watching us. So we both did a trick off it, and I was pretty happy with what I'd done, and Frank was obviously stoked with what he'd done. And then there was like these 3 kids sat down, and one of them just turned to the other and just said, if Vaughan Baker was here, he'd kickflip off that,
Just for a
so I just heard that. I don't think he knew I heard it, but I heard that, and I was just like,
he had a point.
So, yeah, and he had a point. He would have
clearly kickflipped off that.
So I just thought.
So at the start of this, Channon, you're standing there like toy machine. I remember like you always had toy machine foundation, and so you were getting flowed stuff from Slam. Was this around Slam, that time?
Yeah. So that's when I was on Slam, and I'd moved back from London. Yeah, but yeah. So we obviously disappointed that kid, so I thought, right, I'll kickflip off it, and actually, to my surprise, did it. I'm sure Frank could have done it a lot easier, but
Channon, I reckon that might have been Adam Howe, because he lived like like right near there.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
Probably was.
That'd be amazing if that was.
50 pence getting in early.
We have to ask him.
He would have been tiny.
Yeah.
They were
3
tiny.
years old or
They
something.
were proper little kids.
In their
I think
prams.
they just
Him and
jumped. They
Dave
just
Davis.
jumped. They just jumped over the fence and then sat there watching us. And I thought, oh, they're all stoked and they're going to be like, oh, Frank just did that. But no, he just looked at his mate and said, Vaughan Baker would kickflip off that.
You showed them, Shannon, didn't you?
You haven't got fucking Vaughan Baker. He's a monster.
So this next part, obviously we've got that intro the bit there. This next part, I'm going to play the whole sequence through because I think it's worth talking about as a sequence of events together.
I agree.
So I'm just going to play it through here. And we can all just watch in craziness, really. It's just, I mean, all of this is just nuts.
Shut down.
It is shut down, isn't it?
So no one else can skate it again.
Wow, I love that kid running in the background. Yeah.
See, I wondered if this was all filmed on one day, or if we went back with me in the same clothes. Yeah. But I can see my Clungemobile in the background, and it's in the same place. Look.
This is the same night as that legendary one night. I remember Mondon telling me about it.
All one day, including the next.
You can see the blue Clungemobile in the background.
Yeah.
The same day.
Yeah, there it is. So
I
did wonder if I'd cheated it and just wore the same clothes, which I do anyway.
So that was a local spot, wasn't it? That was local to you.
That was that's
Largely
way. Yeah, it's not. And again, if you wanted to skate, as soon as you got there, you had someone come to their front door and tell you to leave and just shout you. That kid was trying to put me off. He was one of the kids from the house with the woman shouting at us to leave. So he just ran around trying to put me off and like dancing in the background. So all of this footage, it's not just like, well, it's just the tricks. It's like doing the tricks while having people abusing you. Like, that bit in 1984, like the 2 minutes hate. It's kind of like trying to skate with all those people just screaming at you, screaming obscenities. And
like the Adam Howe. Were they shouting Vaughan Baker as well?
They were saying if Vaughan was here, he would have kicked it off that. When I ollied the path, I remember.
But that adds to it. I mean, that's why watching it in retrospect, and I remember saying, when Adam told me about it, and he's like, oh yeah, he did all these tricks in one night at this place. I was like Shannon said, as soon as you hit that rail, because the corner of the rail, that's their front door, basically.
Yeah.
So as soon as you hit it, there's people outside, and there's kids screaming, and it's just...
Yeah, but he was that kid running along. He weren't being nice. He was trying to put me off, and he was like swearing at me and things like that, and chucking stones at me when I was trying to do it.
That wasn't Frank.
Sorry?
You sure that wasn't Frank?
Might have been, yeah.
No, it was Adam Howe. Adam Howe was there.
Yeah, just following me around. No,
Poor Adam Howe's going to watch this and be like, that wasn't me.
But they complained so much that they got the council to knob this rail, and they put a knob in the middle of it. So I actually went back there on purpose and started skating over the knob. And then she come to her door and she was just like really annoyed that I could still skate it. And I said, actually, it makes it a lot better. It's more of a challenge. And just kept skating it just to irritate her.
More of a challenge.
I was like, I like it because it's more of a challenge.
It doesn't matter. They skates stopped it. You killed it in one night, really. It doesn't. You can't really go back. There's not much to go back to. You did everything.
Stop it.
I think I just went back because they'd skate stopped it, and it irritated me. So I just went back to annoy them and just showed them it hadn't made any difference. It did make a difference, but I just sort of pretended it hadn't, just to irritate her.
How many tries did this take, Shannon? This ollie over the pavement, the 50-50?
I don't think it took a long time. It's just a case of
early, isn't it?
Just go really fast and then land on your board no matter what. Just land on your board, and then one of them it just managed to clear. But just stay on your board.
No skidding out on that. Where you do those big hucks like that, and sometimes you whiz out backwards. Did you get any of that?
No, I think it worked. I think it worked pretty easily. Really, it might be the old memory just sort of bleaching things, and But that was on a different day, so all the other stuff was on one day, and then that last ollie wasn't. But I
used to love this. This
looks straight out like Welcome to Hell or something.
Like with the pig sticker and the kind of board at the time, and just coming straight into the lens as well. I really like that.
Did you film that, Adam?
I didn't. I don't think I did I? Maybe.
That's why it looks good.
And I've got these special wheels there that they did for a while that are like these special
side
wheels.
Cuts, aren't they?
Yeah, they're supposed to lock the rail, so I had them.
Was that pig wheels? Was it?
I don't think so. No.
Did you get
physics?
Oh,
physics, wasn't it? Yeah.
So did Slam just give you whatever product they were running on?
Sorry?
Did Slam just give you whatever product they wanted to promote, or was it specific products?
Yeah, so they put me on like a specifically Tum Yeto. They just said, you're going to be like the Tum Yeto, guy. Yeah. Because there was other people like James Moley. He was kind of the DVS guy and some other stuff. And I was just a bit more of a mosher, so they were like, you can be the Tum Yeto guy. But that's what I was into. I mean, that's what I was into. Like that 50-50 Ollie was just like inspired probably by watching John West. And like he used to, he did things like rails and pop out of rails.
Yeah, that foundation video, he did loads of stuff like that, didn't he? Like, so that's about the same time, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. And at this point, I just probably had sort of the John West thing going in my head, and people didn't really pop out of round rails, and all these parts, like these, these steam videos, they're just a reflection of what the pros are doing at the time, probably like a little bit earlier on smaller stuff. But we're kind of just, kickflip 50. That was like, I think that was like Steve Berra on a rail a little bit before, and you're just kind of playing catch up with the pros in America, aren't you?
So were you into all of those Tum Yeto guys? Like you mentioned John West, but I know you talked about Jamie Thomas to me the other night.
Yeah, massive hero. Definitely thought I was Jamie Thomas, like for a long time.
Why that guy though? Why that guy?
I think because he's just so professional and like controlled, and it's he's a good example of like being professional and being consistent and going fast and like landing things clean and properly. And I'm just really into order and landing things properly and cleanly. You just watch Jamie Thomas, even his, see his clips now, he just does little phone clips. And even if he does a 360 flip on flat, it's just like machine.
Perfect, isn't it?
But he's got a good style with it, but it's like, it's not machine as in boring, but it's just so precise that you can just see he's just properly worked it out. And it's just an inspiration. I remember just sort of reading his interview and just the dedication he had. And things like that, the commitment and the dedication, just inspiring. And he's like, he's sort of I don't know, just a bit of a hero, really.
Yeah, definitely.
You've got to have them when you're.
I think everyone around that time, because it was around that kind of Welcome to Hell, kind of all that kind of period. No, that was 90. Was that 96? Welcome to Hell and stuff like that. And then you just got that kind of that flow of like, especially it kind of changed skateboarding a little bit, and everyone was into kind of rails and into kind of like. Perhaps a bit burlier sort of stuff, and people were just stepping up those levels there. You can see it definitely has an impact on what you're doing. But this is, whereabouts is this? This is Ipswich, right?
That is the pig. That's like a slaughterhouse, like pig slaughterhouse.
Oh, that was it. Yeah.
That looks a lot smoother than years later when we ended up we used to go there. That looked a lot smoother.
It is probably the best spot that's ever existed, apart from Fryson's. It's the best spot in Ipswich. I remember seeing it from the train. I might have been with Frank at the time, and we just like. We have to see it, because it just looked like something from America, from like San Diego. And obviously the floor wasn't, and it was at a slaughterhouse, but it looked like something from San Diego. There was no sort of sun, there was no palm trees or whatever.
It never made sense why it was made like that either. What was that bit for?
Maybe they just rolled the dead pig carcasses down it or something disgusting. I don't know.
Jesus Christ, right.
Right, on to the next clip.
This next clip then, come on. I love the feeble
brilliant bank.
Whereabouts is this rail, Channon?
I think Sandy comped me on that feeble pop out. Is that right, Sandy?
I did, years later. Shameful.
I comped you on the blunt in one of Russell's videos. You tried a blunt, and I comped you on that years later, so I even score.
Who wore it better? That's the thing. Who wore it better? We'll do a comparison later on.
Blunt I wore better because I actually rolled away.
Oh, wow. Just shots are being fired. No one's safe, Sam. He likes you as well. He actually likes you, and you're getting this kind of shit. Channon, where's this at?
No, me and Sandy, basically, we've got a blunt and we've got a feeble, and like, so we just alternate. Like, Sandy will do the blunt one day and I'll do the feeble, and then he does the feeble the next day and I do the blunt, and it works. It's a relationship that works.
You get to loan it out to each other. Who's got it?
Debut act.
Yeah, that's it. Then we have to, so we don't comp each other, because we're both regular and we both do the same 5 tricks. And then we've got our little sort of like, side tricks that we, each of us can do that the other can't.
Sneaky ones, yeah.
Our main tricks, like if we come to something like a certain thing like a bar, we both know we're doing a feeble. So you take the blunt, I'll take the feeble. Divide it up. I said that last night.
Flip the coin.
Last night I did a blunt on the industrial estate into a bank, and I shared the clip with Sandy, and I said, I'm going to let you comp me on this because it would be unfair not to, because that's the only thing you can do is a blunt on it, and to deprive him of that joy.
That's cold-blooded. Right, where's this rail, Shannon?
Oh, I reckon that's like, I reckon that's on. Do you remember? Recently, Varen had a picture on Monster Network of a backsmith on a bank to block. It's on that.
Yeah.
Near the Hive.
Yeah.
Well, that's Hive.
Right.
Dave Underwood filmed that as well, didn't he?
Always wondered where that was.
So
I
he
always
filmed
wondered where that. Where is
the first angle is really good, and then for some reason we decided to put the second angle where you can't actually see what I'm doing, just as I do the shove it. There's some really weird editing choices, and I don't blame Dave for that, because
just to fill some time.
I was in the editing
you were there.
studio.
You were there, Shannon. You got to take.
And I was the one probably making all these dumb suggestions. That's why there's no rollout on any of the tricks. I can't stand looking at myself rolling out.
You got that Jamie Thomas quick edit like that.
Yeah. Well, it was just like, no, get me off the screen.
Oh,
get
really?
the trick in. Get me
So were
off.
you involved in the edit for this, Shannon? Were you
I was,
leaning over Dave's shoulder?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, spoiling
little
it.
room.
In his little room.
I was because he hadn't edited before that. I don't think really like a skate video, and I had, because I'd sat in on Tough Guys and Kaboom, and I'd made lots of silly little videos myself. Like Pork Sword wasn't out at that time, but I'd made Pork Sword and done like silly bits of editing, and so I kind of knew what I was doing, and I don't think Dave had a clue. So I went in and sat with him. He chose the song because I don't know, I just wasn't really listening to music at the time, and he just used to go rummaging through his brother's album CD collection, and he just picked out this Quadrophenia soundtrack CD. He'd just bring things in. And
great song choice there.
The song is the thing that makes it as well, and I think that's the thing, is that iconically, I was talking to you about this the other night, Shannon. Is that people remember this part. They remember all the tricks and they remember the stuff, but a lot of people remember the song, like the way the song goes. And it's a shame that we can't play it. And when we put it on the Insta, you'll be able to see it. But
it's a bit of a Jamie Thomas. It's a bit of a Jamie Thomas.
It's got a lot of crescendo. It's got a lot of crescendos, and it's quite emotive and everything else.
It's really emotive, isn't it?
I think.
I remember the other week, Adam, you were sending out little bits and bobs, and you sent out the trailer for the Meathead anthology, and you used that song for the trailer. Yeah. And I watched it and was like,
"Did you well up, Russell?"
A little bit, a little bit of a moment. It's a rad song, though.
It's a great song. It is a great song. It works so well.
Yeah.
So we missed a couple of bits there. Let's have a look. So we've got this line here, Shannon. Where's this line? Is this next line?
Oh, that's a proper crumb snatcher. The back lip is proper crumb snatcher. I just fall out, fall on my board. My board happens to be going in the same direction. And
Ipswich High Street, isn't it?
It's Ipswich High Street. Two undercover benches and
co-op benches. It was a co-op.
Co-op. That's near the opposite the Odeon, wasn't it?
Had good floor.
It did have good floor, but it had like benches with pillars. The reason I did a crumb snatcher there was because there's a pillar. So if you tried to come out straight, you'd brain yourself on the pillar. So I'm obviously trying to come out at an angle, and I've ended up doing a crumb snatcher. And
Shannon, just for people who don't speak Shannon King, can you explain what a crumb snatcher is?
It's not my word, but it's snatching crumbs.
It's part of your dialogue, isn't it?
Yeah, just the desperation. Like you're just so desperate that you just see a crumb fall into the floor like a crumb of a trick, and you just snatch it. You just snatch it and have it because you're so desperate, and you just have it.
I'm just going to make a note of that. Thank you.
Usually,
was this tail slide your Super 8? Was this?
Yeah.
So were you sort of mindful back then? Was Super 8 still massively expensive when you running that rule that we used to run, where you sort of got 2 or 3 goes and then
3 goes,
had your money's worth?
3 goes. This is the thing, and it's amazing. And like
luck,
skateboarding is well, it's not even luck. Skateboarding's so sort of deep in the unconscious mind. It's all it's like because you just train it so much, it becomes like blinking or whatever. When you're skating, you're not thinking about everything your arms and feet and legs, everything are doing. You're you're focusing on one very narrow point. You're just focusing on what you don't want to smack your head on or break your arm on or whatever, and you're just thinking, but all the other movements are just absolutely from the unconscious, you know. And so I've lost my train of thought. Ask the question again.
We were talking about Super 8.
So when I put the Super 8 on, and because it costs a lot of money, it just, so usually like my conscious mind is just messing me up all the time, and like, you know, I'm talking myself out of stuff. But as soon as there's that financial pressure and you don't want to waste film, just like the conscious mind just disappears, and somehow you can just do it. And like I would usually with Super 8, and I've done this filming myself with getting someone to film me with Super 8. I'm like, no, 3 goes, and usually I do it like first go, you know, because of that pressure.
Focus the mind, yeah.
Is that visualization?
It gets rid of that. Gets rid of the conscious mind, because you just, I don't know, it just takes over. Like your natural instincts take over, you know. I remember McGee, like I'm going to bring McGee up just for Mondon.
Thanks.
Now I remember McGee, I was doing like a nose blunt on, it was in the Blueprint video. I don't think the Super 16 ever got used, but basically I was trying to do this nose blunt. It was just, in the end, maybe it didn't come out very well on the Super 16. But he just used the VX thing in the end. But it was like a nose blunt slide on this slope bank and then into the bank.
Was and so what I was doing, marble thing, was it?
It was like, Houston like or something.
Grey marble, and then Houston. And I go up, I try the nose blunt. McGee broke out his Super 16. I go up, I try the nose blunt. Every time I failed, and he was sitting in my run-up, like it's filmed me sort of from the back, and I had to walk past him to go back for another run-up. Every time I walked past him for the run-up, he'd be like, cheers, another $5, another $5. He was literally counting how much.
Like a taxi driver.
Yeah. Just like telling me how much I was racking up. Yeah, the clock was running.
The meter is running.
And that didn't have a great effect on me doing the trick, I must say. But if it's self-imposed, like if it's my money, then then that really works. And if I'm pressuring myself like that for some reason just works, which is weird.
Where is this, Channon?
Yeah, so that thing. Right, so Mark Channon does that in a Unabomber video, and we both, and it's neither of us comping the other one. Basically, we both found it on the same day, and we're both. I think Mark had spotted it, and he took. We went there because he wanted to check it out, and we both started trying it, and we both ollied it on the same day. And I think probably Frank filmed that. We both ollied it on the same day. Nice. It was one of the weirdest thing.
It's horrible.
As soon as your wheels hit, you had to start ollieing. And I kept clipping the bollard, which was pretty scary, but I kept, bonking it. You
can see how close it is. When you freeze framed it there, it was.
It's not close there, and I actually hit it.
If you had the sound, I think you bonged up it, haven't you? Yeah.
Now, if you had the sound, you'd hear it clip, because I was just I can't do this without it clipping. Like Channon managed to do it without it clipping, but I just couldn't do it. So we're just well, it doesn't matter, because it doesn't.
So what is the thing with, because the next thing's really awkward as well. Have you got a thing with awkward run-ups and weird little things where there's no real spot there? We've got this phrase on the book club, the not a spot phrase, that you seem to be attracted to these spots that aren't really spots.
Yeah, well, I think the point of we talked about this yesterday a bit, but yeah, it's like it's like solving a puzzle for one, but it's like the more chaotic something is, what we basically do. The whole thing, like skateboarding, is so arbitrary and so pointless. It's I want to go along and I want to do that trick and then this trick. Why? I have no idea why I want to do that. You don't know what you want to. It's just so arbitrary and so pointless. But the point really is, it's like, maximum chaos, things that shouldn't work, and then turning that into something really orderly, and getting a grip of sort of physics and mastery over physics. And so the worse the physics are and you get mastery over it, the more impressive that is.
Getting from
and that's that green box.
Go on,
sorry,
Sam. Sorry.
It's getting from A to B in the most creative way, I guess. It's just a way to get
creativity. But I think, looking at someone like Ricky Ola's part and why that's popular, it's because he's just in absolute chaos, skating completely against physics that kind of shouldn't work. And on surfaces it shouldn't work, and just in all this chaos, but he's just doing everything. So he's got complete mastery over kind of the universe, over physics. You know, he's in control and he's coming out fast, and he's just in control and he's just stamping things down.
Yeah,
we talked
about that last week with Rodriguez. Is that he runs really basic arsenal of tricks that the fundamentals are done to such perfection. Even he's going into things at speed, he's coming out at speed, he's landing at certain. Do you know what I mean? He really makes his mark in just very simple equations, isn't it?
That's what the hero does, is sort of goes into chaos and orders it. You know, that's it. That's what the hero does. And the more chaotic something is, and that they basically sort that out and get complete control over it. And you find the most chaotic, seemingly impossible thing, and then you conquer it, sort of trying to be, I mean, hero sounds like a bad word, but
protagonist,
like an arrogant word.
Archetypal protagonist.
Yeah.
You're just trying to control the narrative, aren't you?
It's slaying the dragon, really. Yeah, you know, the dragon's causing chaos, and and you slay the dragon and restore the kingdom to order, and it's like, the more chaotic.
Where's this dragon?
MFI.
What, the blue bars? The blue bars.
That's Nick College.
That's Colchester, isn't it?
No, it's Suffolk College.
Oh, is it? Oh, yeah, it is. You're right. Yeah.
I don't even know what the building is.
Where you get married.
Church, I think.
So that one there is that's a registry office. That's right. Yeah. Starkey took a photo of me doing a front nose on that, and that's in the Starchives, buried.
Starchives. That green box as well. Just before that, this is super nerdy. That's in Chelmsford. Do you remember that?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing you. You lot turned up. Yeah, you lot turned up that day, and I think we skated with you at the college, and then you went off. And then I remember watching this and just thinking, that's not a spot. Like we used to ollie. People used to ollie the wall below it as a drop.
That's right.
That was sick.
Yeah. So it's just it's just things being.
But there's no run up for this, is there? There's no run.
Things being difficult and overcoming them. That bar there's not a great deal of run up, and there's like a nasty bit of angle line just as you land that you think you're going to smack your face on, But that was
not a spot.
That is probably, I reckon that's probably the worst spot I've ever skated.
Is that across from Greyfriars, isn't it?
Yeah. Right. Still there.
Just look at the top of that. Look where you've just scraped all the shit off the top of it, just to scrape your tail across it.
It's still there. It's still there. If anyone fancies it, help yourselves.
Shannon, you're quite good at preparing spots. Like, is that something you go into, like a ritual of? Some people will want to skate a spot that's perfectly waxed already, or that's been created for them, and they just go there and do a trick. Like Sam Jr., he prefers that flip out shit.
Be chauffeured there, and
he needs a perfect block. Whereas you will go and actually take time, consider the aesthetics of the scene, and actually, like Russ said, you've actually almost sanded that moss off the top. I don't know if you've done it.
I mean, it's I don't know. I mean, I don't think there was any particular preparation with that one, apart from probably scraping, like a bit of moss off.
But do you prepare spots? Is that something you do? Like you put some work into them?
Not really. I don't think so. No. I mean, I think I just go and try and skate it, and then it doesn't work, and then just I just keep going at it and find a way to make it work, and just keep going at it and keep going at it.
Does that torment you? If it doesn't work, that first time, will you go back? Because some people will be like, this isn't a spot, fuck it, I'm done. But obviously it torments me, but I mean, usually I'd keep going back until it works. And I don't usually accept it's not a spot, Because most
carried on for years.
But you said that to me the other night, is that you'll visualize something into it actually being a reality. You'll keep visualizing it, thinking.
Yeah, until it happens. I think most skateboarders will just they just dream about the tricks they want to do. Like the other night, I wanted to do a Wally nose slide, and I just on this difficult spot, and I spent the whole day beforehand, because I kind of have a day off with skating. Usually, I'd like to have a day off and recover, and then skate again. But I just spent the whole day off, just going around in my head, figuring all the physics out. And then you get there, and the physics are totally different. And I got there, and I'm like, this isn't. I said to Sandy, this is not going to work. Like, physics are all wrong.
Yeah, it's all wrong.
But I kind of stuck with it, and just kept trying different angles and changing things up, and then it worked. And I don't know, you dream stuff up, and it's very easy when you're in the comfort of your duvet to sit there dreaming about all these wonderful things you're going to do, and then you actually get there. It's like all these spots you can like look at them and being like, everyone can be like, oh, I'll do this, that, and the other on it. But until you get there, you don't see the cracks. Exactly. You don't see the woman screaming at you from out the window. You don't see like.
Well, that's why I think that when you watch your parts specifically, they're not tramline spots. So most of the time, when you watch a skate video, you can go there, and maybe you can have the idea to one up, or you can do the same thing or something like that. But you consistently skate spots which no one else seems to have got anything on, or got anything on since. So is that something that is?
Well, I think I really hate competition, apart from with myself. You know, I'm an individual, and I've always hated team sports, and you know, I like being sort of in control of my own sort of destiny and what I do, and you know, and it all being down to me. I like having a lot of control in it. Things like football, where you have, you know, on a proper pitch and everything like that. Like I enjoyed five-a-side because it was every man for himself, and you could be the goalie, you could be the striker, you could be everything. So you were in control of your destiny in the game. But as soon as we moved to a big pitch and I was told I couldn't move from my position, you know, and I was having to rely on other people, and people were letting you down and you were letting other people down, I hated it. It killed it for me. But skateboarding, it's just you. And so I don't like competition. So if everyone's, and this is what happens, you get competitions in the street, like everyone going to those ledges at St. Paul's or whatever, and everyone's kind of competing with each other. It's like who can get the best trick, and I just hate that, and it puts me off. And I kind of just want to do my own thing. It's me against physics and the elements, and against no one else. You know,
there's certain places where that will work. Like if you took a spot like, I don't know, E&B, or Love Park or something like that, there's certain places where you could go there and everyone's skating the same thing and doing relatively similar lines, and it kind of works just because of the spot. But you seem to consciously go, okay, I'm going to try and find this really high ledge, or this looks really unskateable, this is really awkward to get into. That, like you were talking about puzzles and trying to solve them.
Because if someone else has skated something, it's not a puzzle anymore. No, it's so much easier once you've seen someone else pave the way and trailblaze to then, you know, you can just see it works, it happens. Oh, I know that grinds. I know you can roll away. I've watched someone do it. It's so much easier. But the first person to do something, that's the scary thing, is just diving into the unknown, and you don't know if it's going to grind, you know. And I've done a lot of sort of stuff that no one's ever skated that white ledge, no one's ever skated that oil drum thing, and never will again, if I've got any sense. But,
it's got a blue plaque on it now, isn't
it? Yeah, should do.
The no slide was the no slide shot by Starkey. Is that in the Starkives, or did someone else shoot that? No, I've seen that. I've seen that one.
You're not going to believe this, right? He actually gave me the slide, the original slide. I've got it upstairs. Actually got that. Something has left the Starkives, but that was actually.
That's been run though. That's been run.
That's an ad, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a Slam ad, and it got. They had a really bad scanner at Slam, and it turned out just pretty awful. Looked pretty awful, and I don't know, just wasn't good anyway. But it's I was stoked to do it because the rollout's terrible. Yeah, it's quite high and quite short, so it doesn't look like all video, you know, and. Everyone knows this that's gone somewhere like a place like somewhere like SS. If you ever go to SF or whatever, you go around and you're just like, oh my God, everything's huge, you know, because video doesn't, you know, never really captures the size and stuff. I think photos do that better, you know, because they're not moving. You know, I think photos always look like things look the proper size, and then you see the video and it kind of rushes past, and, you know.
Where's that? It looks like you're just in the middle of a field.
I mean, that is just an air base, and
that is the spot.
It is
an
not
air
a spot.
No, it's not a spot. No. I remember that.
That's it.
Grass.
And I think that's a hard one to see how hard it is to skate that grass thing. I remember it being really difficult to skate, but I think you can't really get that by watching it on video. You know,
is that Benny Waters?
I think so. Yeah, I think we'd been up the road and we just. Skating actually a spot. We'd been skating a real spot, and then we sort of went down the road and we just saw that out the car and got out, and that was in, I think that was in something, but yeah, that was a Starkey photo as well.
Carl, was that you filming? Carl, was that you filming this long?
I think it's Vince Pye.
Yeah, I thought it was Vince.
Yeah, it's Vince Pye.
Yeah.
Where did that footage end up?
It's in there.
Who knows?
In the docs, I think.
I think that's something I wanted to mention earlier. You know, like we were saying about how nuts it is to just edit everything now, and there were so many people back in the day that just had like shoe boxes of tapes that have just gone to the fucking tip, haven't they? Because it was such a mission to get two video players together and edit it up.
Mine are definitely down the tip now. Yeah, waste of landfill.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
No, it's a shame though. But you know what I'm saying? It was a mission, wasn't it, to put a video together? It still is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely is. Well, you know, it is, but then, like, I suppose, I don't know. Yeah, you can approach it in different ways now, you know. I mean, I'm just doing stuff, sticking my phone on a tripod and, like, you know, and racking clips up. So you can just, I suppose you can do it in different ways, can't you now, you know?
Channon, where's this?
I think that's quite badly filmed, and I think that was on Dave's camera, on Dave Underwood's camera. And I'm not dissing him because I told him to film like that, and I was wrong. And you can't even see it's a goalpost. It's actually a football goalpost. Yeah,
that's what it's a 5-a-side goal, isn't it?
And I stopped him from film.
It used to be a bowl.
Filmed it long.
Yeah, Thurston Bowl, isn't it?
Thurston Bowl.
Yeah, Thurston Bowl. That's right. That's the bank of Thurston Bowl. And yeah, I think Dave wanted to film it long, and he was right. And then I think I insisted he film it like that.
You insisted he went Jamie Thomas, and
you can't even see what it is. So that was scary. That because I don't know, just scary because there wasn't a definite lip. You know, like it went into the bowl, it sort of rounds off. So you kind of felt like you're going to go over the edge. Yeah.
That's
Willie G's. Willie G's.
That first angle is so rad because that shows. We were talking about this the other week, weren't we? How rotten that bar was because there was just a sheer drop the ramp the other side.
I think it was rotten because of the pillars each end. You know,
I think the pillars each end just stitch you up, don't they?
And the fence you kept grabbing. I remember. So I kept grabbing the fence once. I was trying to film, and I tied my hand up in a plastic bag. Like we tied
I remember it.
I remember that, Mum did.
Yeah. I remember it as well. I was there as well.
I kept grabbing the rail, so he just
you were so pissed off
in a plastic bag, and I just did it straight away. But I mean, the footage looked a bit weird because I had a plastic bag on my hand. But
we used to call it playing the piano. Like if you touch the bar, like no piano.
Because it was so hard. Like I was saying before about the unconscious mind, like you know. You can't stop it. I did it at South Bank as well.
Yourself, isn't it?
You just can't stop it. It's just instinct that you reach out every time. And I did it at South Bank as well. Like I think I was with Foz. Yeah, I think I was with Foz and like I was trying to film something, couldn't stop grabbing the top bar because like South Bank was classic for that. And I was trying to do like some stall on the lower bar. You know, I kept grabbing it, so I lashed my hand up in a bag again. And managed to stop doing it.
People are going to start talking about you, Shannon. They keep lashing your hand in the bag.
Have a carrier bag in your back pocket at all times.
Yeah, you've got to.
Talking of back pockets, what's going on in this back lip? You got some Hossoi going on, like something.
Yeah, it's a joke. I mean, it was. I think Dave Underwood, he used to skate around with the old sad rag, didn't he? As like
the sad.
So that was just like a joke. Like I just stuck it in a whole T-shirt in my pocket. It's just a joke.
This is really John West coming through here into that hurricane, that backside hurricane. So good. That's really
the still you got that was nice. Yeah, just saying.
Backsmith on bars though, Jesus, just square bar backsmith.
Who filmed that?
Yeah, that line is amazing. I love this line. Do you remember who filmed it?
So that there looks like a Smithy 50, but
Smithy
if you go back.
No, it's there. We'll
you go back.
We'll try and get it.
Who filmed that line, Shannon? That Smithy.
I reckon it's Dave.
Come on. Can't get it.
Come on, sausage fingers. You got this.
I'm trying. Just a bit too late.
It's a 5-0 actually.
It's just a 5-0 in this.
It's just because it's such a
just a bit of a shit 5-0 show. Sorry, mate.
No, I mean it locked very briefly, didn't it? But it was there. It was there. You just had to really don't blink or you'll miss it, sort of thing. But I reckon this was Dave Underwood filmed this.
Oh,
he's got the super bog roll going on the camera. That's why. It's his camera.
Super bog roll and super shake. This is what.
Yeah. Yeah, the shaky.
I always used to like that line, especially with the back nose blunt.
It's the only I think this block's the only thing I've ever been able to do back nose blunts consistently on. I think I had them for like a week, just this magical week. I could just do backside nose blunts, and then for some reason, like maybe the block disappeared or I stopped skating there. But that was the end of my back nose blunt career. So,
do you remember whose block that was?
I think it was Wilson's, wasn't it? Was it Willie's?
Probably, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it was maybe Rodriguez block or something. I'm not sure, but like
it was a good one.
Where do they live? Those blocks? Where do they live? Did people just like? Well, they must have been local.
Stuck them in the. No, just stuck them in the bush.
I remember them being in the bush for ages.
Yeah, but it was a perfect size, like back nose blunts, right? You have to be able. If you mess them up, you've got to be able to clear the block with your body. Because for me, because it's just frightening, So you need to be able to. You can't go too fast. It can't be too high. So it's just the perfect. It was like the Goldilocks block. It was just right.
Goldilocks.
Get in and you clear it with your body at least.
Wow. That's right.
That's savage. That's savage.
That is just
another one in the Star Archives. That
I've seen that photo. I'm sure that's a photo somewhere. I'm sure
I had that toy machine board. That was sick. The yellow one with the hands.
I remember it. I remember wanting it so bad as well. Just from this part, I remember going, "Oh, where'd you get that toy machine board?"
Who's Lurkio in the background?
Yeah, who's that?
Ben Mar.
Ben Mar, yeah.
Ben Mar, yeah.
It could be
Ben Mar always is that guy in the background.
It is classic Ben Mar attire.
Part-time model, isn't it?
Yeah.
Shannon, if you've got Danny Way's mega ramp trucks on there, they look pretty wide.
They look huge, don't they? Look.
But I never know
your
what
wheels
stuff I've got, Carl. I have no idea. I still haven't figured it out. Like every time I go into a skate shop or whatever, and they say, "Oh, you have to get the wheels out of the cabinet." They're like, "What size do you ride?" I'm just like, I have no idea.
I remember when you were getting Tom Yetto, and you also had some first divisions. And they were just like the biggest wheels. I think they're almost like 60 mil or something.
I know.
Like that.
I just ended up getting the most ridiculous.
They're so gnarly. Gear. I was just like, Jesus.
No, I just
what were the trucks? Gear. What were those trucks?
I'd probably venture. That's a bit before venture.
Thunder. They would have been
Thunder. Yeah, probably. I got a specific truck off Slam. I think they only gave me something like Thunder. Yeah. They would obviously designate to people, you're going to be this guy or that guy. And I think, I was the Thunder guy. So
I remember going to this spot years later, this bench spot. And those two benches are so close together.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. That's why I have to do that little tic-tac. To get the angle. To get the angle. So it's not a crumb snatcher. It's to get the angle back. Because otherwise, I have to explain myself. Otherwise, I'd have to be going. Otherwise, you'd end up going dead straight at the bench. You have to do that little tack. I remember it at the time. Like I was like,
is it Wells Hall? Is that what is that school?
It is.
Yeah.
It's not there anymore.
Those benches are gone. The benches are gone.
Yeah, Sal's classrooms are right where those benches are.
We need to get Sal to get them back.
We went back a few years ago, and they tarmacked in front of the benches, hadn't they? And it was all a bit weird. And then
I love those benches. They're amazing.
Why is no one talking about the camo trousers? That's what I want to know. That's the elephant in the room.
We've let that one go, Shannon. We were waiting. The camo drain pipes. Do you know what I mean?
I couldn't see them.
That's right. Yeah, it just looks like a t-shirt and a pair of shoes going down a handrail.
Just a tree going down a handrail.
I think
with the bush in the background, I'm pretty much
camoed in there, and disappeared. I think tall people weren't supposed to wear camo trousers. I think that's the
No.
Yeah,
that's Carl's Wally post that I comped him on.
Exactly. Carl knows he owns that. It's fine.
Yeah, to be honest, Carl, I had a hard time trying to do that. I really did.
It wasn't good.
Proper struggled. It was terrible.
It was really rough at an angle.
It was really rough. Yeah. Yep. That's
Who filmed that
right.
through the fence? Was that Dave?
Was Dave, yeah.
He had a good eye for those sort of angles.
Long lens he did, short lens.
Yeah, not so much.
Well, he had his fisheye going against him, so, it weren't really his fault with the fisheye, but...
Should have gone for Jessup's.
Where's that? There's that transfer, that feeble transfer. Smith.
No,
so that is, sorry.
Where is that?
The college.
The Dove.
Yeah, that's at the Dove. That's still there. I walk past that every bloody day.
It's not a spot.
I never knew that was
It's not a spot, is it?
It's
Didn't
not
know
a
that
spot.
was there.
Really isn't.
Just on the way.
I really
Dove's a
wanted
nice
to learn. I really wanted to learn Smith grind over to feeble for some arbitrary reason. I just decided I wanted to learn that, and that was the only bar we could think of that was like that. You know, with two pillars either side, so you kind of had to do it, and it made sense.
I'll have to look at that next time.
You can't do a trick like that. You can't do a trick like that on a bar with ends, you know, because everyone will just be like, well, why didn't you just come off the end? You have to have the two pillars there to sort of, you know,
you have to have some adversity there, don't you?
Yeah, to encapsulate it so you can't cheat, you know what I mean?
There's no cheating there.
No. Yeah, and when you've got the pillars, you can see that. It's like, there's no cheating. You had no other option, no way out. Yes, that's what it is. It's like having no way out, isn't it? You have, you know.
So this London line here, are you living in London at the time, or is this a day visit?
What clothes have I got on? I've got a Duff's hoodie.
The all black. The all black outfit.
I was going to say that. So that was Duff's flow as well. You wearing those Markoviches a lot, the black Markoviches.
I think Mongoose come up for a day, and I think I was living in London at the time. And Mongoose come up and filmed a load of stuff. We filmed it all in a day, like all these little bits.
Yeah, I've got those tapes somewhere.
This is two of my favourite tricks coming up.
You filmed something. That was when the building was first built, London, and you filmed me do a board slide on the rail around the back, the double rail, and you filmed it through the building because the building was completely empty. So that was when it was first built. So I was pretty much first on the scene on that. You know?
You shut this down. You shut this down. That spot.
It was you can see where it's just been built.
That's St Paul's, isn't it? Down the bottom of St Paul's.
Yeah, St Paul's. Yeah. It's the run up to the Millennium Wobbly Bridge, isn't it? If you carry on going down there, it's the Wobbly Bridge.
So where are these, Channon?
So again,
those fakey 50s.
Yeah, so again, like phoned up Frank or whatever, and like he just had, he had his sort of.
Because this is much earlier, isn't it? That's much earlier.
That's much earlier, yeah.
Sainsbury's.
Yeah, that's it, Sainsbury's.
Yeah, so basically Frank had this spot he wanted to go to, and it was the middle of the day, and it was open, and like someone was trying to kick us off at the time and harassing us, some trolley person and whatever, just trying to kick us off. So we just had to do it, had to do our tricks with him calling the police, and there was customers walking around. And I think it was me, Frank, and John.
I think I was the middle of the week. I think I got.
Oh, were you?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
They were high, and they were
really high.
Really shit metal that didn't really grind.
Yeah. That horrible supermarket railing metal.
Yeah. Aluminum.
I think we only have in this country.
Did you say aluminum?
to deal with the.
It was aluminum.
To deal with the weather.
Why not have to be aluminum?
Aluminum. This is the one. How did he miss the end? That's what we want to know. How did he miss that? That looks like a crumb snatcher, but it's, if anyone that's ever skated it, there's like mud right when you land. Yes. So I kept feebling it. I had to do it so many times and kept going into the mud or hanging up on, trying to swerve, and just got lucky, stoked when you actually got past all that mud. You were just like, it doesn't matter. Nothing's getting in my way now. I'm doing the gap sort of thing, because it just took so long to get past all the mud. And I had to do that little tic-tac.
Just rad to do it in the line.
Yeah, definitely.
Line, sick.
It was very, very hard, yeah.
Clear camo trousers here. Yeah. Look at them.
Dog off the leash. Look at him.
Literally. Let him go.
And
Thrill of it all
shirt. He's just got his box.
Yeah. Boom.
Switch donkey do.
Switch donkey do as well.
That's probably the best switch hard flip I'll do in my life.
You had that.
That one worked, didn't it? Yeah. I do a weird push there because of the rough surface. I was having to flip and then turn out really sharp to not land in all the rough spot at the end of the bars because it got so bad at that
point. This is much earlier as well. Those
cars. Look at those cars.
Well, that's one of them's mine. Yeah, one of them.
Was it the blue one? Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's the BGPs? Let's try and work it out.
Ben Mark got in it.
Ben Mark's shorts. There's shorts on there. Ben Mark just in the back of all clips. Who's that?
It's probably me pissed off in the back there.
No, that's Starkey.
That looks a bit like Jules.
Yeah, Jules, the long leg.
Is it Jules?
Yeah, I think so.
It's quite late, isn't it? Or is it not?
Yeah, Jules was well off the scene by then. Well off the scene, yeah.
He was still about for a bit.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
He did, yeah. He did sort of have a few little comebacks, didn't he? But
Switch hard foot, Jesus.
I know. Tried to be dope.
He tried to be dope, didn't he?
Yeah, he did it.
This is where you're trying to be dope. This is when I watched this, when I first saw this video, I had to rewind this about 20 times. So I was like, I don't even know what the fuck he's.
I mean, so this is one of those tricks, right? That in a way, like, so I'd never seen anyone do it. So I'm sure people had done it, but I just never seen anyone do it. So it's one of those things that you kind of invent, but someone has done it. But I sort of came up with it, switch front foot, and I just find it easier. It just found it easier that way. Maybe the old hind leg's a bit more powerful,
It's just the way it wraps around, though. It proper wraps around.
You need a lot of power in the front or back foot to do those tricks.
There's a lot of people guilty of the bullshit impossible nowadays, but that's proper.
Definitely. So there's a lot of the old 360 shove-its.
Yeah. That's London as well, isn't it?
Yeah, that's John would have been filming that probably on the slam camera.
High,
that's Barbican, and again, you were getting like the police called on you there and worrying about security and
people shouting at you.
That doesn't look as it doesn't look as it is actually quite high, and it doesn't really the video you can't
super high. Yeah, it's super high. So this is it. You're running that old Nike shirt. There it is.
Oh,
here we go.
They re-released that recently.
Shannon's name on the back.
Yeah,
signature version. Yeah,
King.
It is King. John Green.
Yeah.
This is what we were talking about the other week, wasn't it? All these handrails just in the middle of estates that you boys used to skate in Ipswich.
I love the early 90s haircut there, though. Look at that.
I think I'm in Carl's mum's trousers as well. I remember one night I slept over Carl's, and for some reason, I don't know, God knows, but I didn't have any trousers or something, like spare trousers. I think we'd gone out and got really lashed or something, and like something had happened. Was that night, Carl?
Something had happened.
Oh no, something had. No, right. So I think, and I'm not 100% sure, but I think oh no, I don't know. Anyway,
keep it PG. Keep it PG.
You pissed yourself.
Was that the Hollywood saga? Maybe.
No, I don't know. There's a few sagas, but
let's keep it PG, lads. Come on.
Mum had some old trousers, so I ended up skating in them. So they might be Carl's mum's trousers I'm doing that in.
That's amazing.
Still are a pair of trousers.
That was the
There's
day.
Literally no rollout, is there?
No run up either. No run up.
90-degree run up and no rollout.
After a night on the sauce.
Oh.
I don't know. No, I carried on wearing the trousers for quite a while because they were quite good.
Carl's mum getting more and more angry.
Yeah.
Where are my jeans?
Proper baggy trousers.
That's not your car parked at the bottom, though, is it?
No, because mine was blue, but that is a Morris Marina.
Yeah.
It's a Morris Marina.
All the shit cars.
I always thought it was an Austin Allegro. It's a Marina, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a Marina, and it basically just had a household sofa as the back seat.
The back seat, which is solid. I love that thing.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But
really soft and spongy as well.
Again, this was just like a Frank mission, and it's the same day that he did the really steep one in his part.
Yeah, he does it.
Yeah. And we both just did a handrail that day, and that one's got no run up. It's just like a 90-degree, no rollout. The road is rough as hell. Just horrible, and it just kept landing in the grass over and over again. Kept landing in the grass. And you can see that last one, just nothing is stopping me. Just riding over everything.
Just riding it on.
Should have manualed out of it though, Channon.
Yeah, I know. My one regret.
Back to your Philly spot.
Yeah, so I think me and Underwood just thought it'd be nice to bookend it, like bit of Cine on that bank to start, bit of Cine to end.
Yeah,
that's it.
So that was a Starkey photo, and
what was that for?
That was a good
run for something.
It was good, but my front foot just looked like it was going to fall off, so I never really liked it.
Crumb snatcher.
It did look crumb snatching, yeah, it did. Yeah. So, but otherwise, it was a good photo. But
watching that back, Channon, does that give you good memories of that time? Does it kind of like fill you with kind of like a positive vibe of having been a part of that whole scene at that time?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's nice, and it's like I say, we didn't try to film for it, so I didn't. It was never this sort of pressure to deadline, or trying to do this and trying to get an ender filmed. Like, you know, everything's in completely reverse order, stuff from the end, you know, the end of that period is at the start, and it's all mixed up because there wasn't really, it wasn't being filmed as a part. So yeah, it's good memories, but
strong memories. Yeah, look, I think for most people, and it's the music, it's possibly the time period that all of us were coming up as well. And I just think, for me, I watched that part and it really brings back floods of memories. And I think the rest of us, that's why we chose this part, because we all had that same. I remember Russ saying to me that, oh yeah, I really remember that part. Adam always really remembers that part. I think a lot of people have this kind of nice little fond spot, warm spot for that part. So it's good to kind of dissect it and pull it apart and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing incredible, but then I suppose skateboarding wasn't that incredible back then. Like, you look at it, you know, obviously you look at it now, and you look at skateboarding now, and it's like, yeah, that's pretty weak. But in context of the time and the fact that we had no skate parks to train anything up at, you know, no video cameras really. You just got, you know, you just managed to get your hands on one or be near someone who had a camera and just get a clip now and again. We were just up against it. No spots. It was just pure street skating, you know. And Sudbury Ramp was all we had back then. Yeah, Sudbury Ramp. There's no Ipswich Park, no Sudbury Park, just the ramp. So.
But there's no warm up to any of those spots. Like you said, you can't train that. It's not like now you've got skate parks with rails on that you can train rail tricks.
Yeah, and people
you're going to do a board slide down a massive handrail, and that's the only time you're ever going to try that.
Yeah, maybe haven't done that trick, whatever trick you want to do. You haven't done that trick for like, you know, months and months, and then you're having to relearn it on that thing. You know, it's it's not like you can just train it at a skate park for ages. Closest we had to a skate park at that time was MFI car park, which was a pretty harsh warm-up spot, just bars into gravel, basically, you know.
It also really stood out by the way it was edited, because we talked about this before, where like Dave was one of the first guys around in this area, at least, with computer editing. And a lot of, you know, when we were all putting video parts together before, we'd just chuck them all together and lay the song over the top. Whereas this, you could see when you watch this video, I remember watching this and being like, fuck, there's a build up and you're kind of landing on the beat and things like that. And
it's sort of got a crescendo. Like, it's got like goes up to like a crescendo when the music.
I think it is the catharsis of the music and everything else working together. Because often you choose, I know you were saying about the music, and often you choose a song based on the fact that you liked it, or that it was rare, even seeing videos, people would choose songs because it goes with the skating. But accidentally, even though it wasn't a conscious choice of yours, this perfectly goes with the skating. It's in tune with where you're at the moment. Like Russ said, it had that kind of Tom Yetto, Jamie Thomas kind of vibe. So it was the first video part I saw that someone I knew had made, but looked like an American video, if you want to look at it like that.
Well, I think a good video part is something that you watch it and then it sticks in your head, so that when you go out skating, it's still playing in your head, and you kind of take on the persona of that skateboarder, or their kind of like their attitude. So I used to watch Ricky Iola, and he just got like that Metallica, and in his attitude, you watch him when he's skating, it's just attitude. He's just stamping everything down. He's just not taking it anymore. He's just had enough. He's like, no, I've had enough. And he's just stamping it down. And then if you watch that part with Metallica, you kind of go out and you're like, yeah, I'm not taking it anymore. I've had enough. And I'm just going to I'm just going to skate absolute crap, you know, and I'm going to stamp it down. And that's how I'd go out after. So I used to watch Ricky Iola's part like every morning. And, you know, I went through periods of watching Jamie Thomas's part like every morning before we'd go skating. Like me and John used to sit down and watch the whole of Welcome to Hell every morning. Just insane. But we'd just watch it, and then you'd go out and you'd have that tune in your head. You'd have that kind of, you'd take on the what they were putting forward there.
Try and emulate that.
Yeah.
I mean, how does it feel for you now in later years, looking back and knowing that, yeah, you were there watching Ricky Iola, Jamie Thomas, but then people were watching your part and not necessarily emulating
skating,
You made us have enough.
Well, no, but you made us kind of see that, oh shit, we need to push on, we need to drive forward, we need to be aggressive and things like, do you know what I mean? And things like that with the skating. And how does that feel to have that impact on people?
But yeah, it's good. The whole point of skating is, if you can get people off their sofa and to go out, you know, like I've been, you know, and even if it's a really small influence, and even if it's like one person that you can just, because that can turn into something huge. Like someone like Jamie Thomas was probably influenced by like really influenced by like a handful of people that he can name, and they've given him a whole life of career. Everything is based on that. It's based on his decision to move and do all this stuff because he got inspired, you know. So it saved someone's life, and he could have just, who knows? I mean, he might have ended up in a better life or whatever, but it's directed his life so that he's made a career out of it, and probably met his wife and whatever through, you know, all these connections that he's made. And that's what you know, that's kind of the aim, is inspiring people to just get off the sofa and go out. And lately I've been just going out with my tripod by myself, because we've all been put in this crazy situation, being like, you know, in lockdown. And I went like a month without skating, and I just had enough. I'm just like, no, I can't take it anymore. So I was just, I got my tripod, went out on my phone. I didn't even have a tripod the first time. I just went out skating, like going out on my own. And like, I've started just filming like, clips on my tripod. And I went to a spot that's never been skated, like this bank spot in Sudbury on the industrial site. It's never really been skated. I don't know, maybe someone has, but yeah, and I waxed it up and got it moving and everything. And I haven't been back there for a little while, but I went back last night to do a trick on it. And there was like marks on a different bit of the curb. So someone's watched my Instagram, and all these kids have been there because there's all these board marks on a different bit that I didn't skate. There's all these clear skate marks. So I've inspired someone to say, right, I'm leaving the house. I don't care if I have to skate on my own or have to go and skate this utter crap. I'm going to go and skate. And that's good.
That's what I was going to say. It's Vaughan again.
Was it Vaughan come back for
kick flipped it?
Or Adam again.
Yeah, so if you can do that for someone, like if you can, if you can just get them out and get them inspired to, because it's hard, like going out just on you feel, especially at my age, like you feel like there's all these mental barriers. You're in this mental sort of box that you're like, oh, people will think I'm weird just hanging around industrial estate on my own. People think I'm weird. I'm like 43 skating in industrial estate on my own. People think I'm weird setting up a tripod. People are looking at me. It's weird. So then you decide not to do it. You're like, no, it's too weird. I'm not doing it. I'll look a freak. So then people have those mental barriers, which don't exist, because the people that walk past me when I'm skating smile, say stuff to me, and they're totally cool. And a lot of people don't even bat an eyelid, you know. So it's all in your head. You imagine all these sort of demons. So you stop yourself leaving the house and you don't skate. You think, I'm too old, it's too weird, or it's too, you know. But then if someone like myself does it and you see that on Instagram, then you're like, well, he can do it and he's not getting laughed at or whatever. I mean, maybe I am, but you know, he doesn't care, and he's doing
exactly.
it.
It's about stopping caring, though, isn't it?
And that's so that grow up part. It's like, we didn't have a skate park, we didn't have anything, but this guy, this guy's doing it. Like I was going out and skating an oil tank and just a load of crap. People might have watched that and went, we don't live in San Diego.
I can skate an oil tanker. Yes.
It's like we don't live in San Diego, but this guy's going out and skating just utter crap, and he's getting away with it somehow. And I can do that. And if someone watched that and thought, well, I've got utter crap around me, so I can do the same, and they went out and skated up crap, good. Hopefully they've sort of left their sofas or whatever,
Good.
Done it.
Well, thank you, Channon, for joining us. I'm going to call time as we're running over, as per usual. Thanks everyone else for joining us this evening. It was lovely to catch up with you all again.
Great section.
Brilliant section.
Very good.
Really,
Well, definitely.
But only one real crumb snatcher in there, so it's not too bad.
Quite a big crumb.
Favourite part.
It's a big crumb, but
start using the term crumb snatcher, folks. All right.
T-shirts on the website soon.
T-shirts.
And Starchives, of course. Hashtag
Starchives.
He might come out the woodwork and start posting things. We might force him out.
Come on, we can do it.
Let's see the oil tank photo, Starkey.
Come on.
See that? He got one of that.
Right,
I know where he lives.
Oh, well, we'll go around a bit, shall we? We'll just pitch up.
It's a threat.
Right, folks, I'm going to call it there. All right, thank you very much, and we'll see you all next time.
All right. See you in a bit.
See you soon.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.